Despite its location in Latin America, this city has a level of development comparable to that of first world countries like Andorra, Cyprus, or Malta. And just like Cyprus or Malta, we are talking about an island, a peaceful island, rich in nature and populated by some of the most healthy people in the southern hemisphere. Their life expectancy is similar to Germany or Belgium and much higher than America. People think that Latin America is violent, but this island is safer than 12 American states. Their currency devaluated so much that it became inexpensive. So you can live in a mansion or a penthouse close to one of its 42 beaches, paying the same that you would pay for a tiny shed in the Bay Area of California. The city was named by the New York Times Party Destination of the Year. They have some of the best private healthcare in the entire Latin America, and you might consider this island a worthy rival for Bali or Chiang Mai in Thailand. We are talking about Florianopolis in Brazil, also known as Ilha da Magia or the Magic Island. And don't be afraid that this island is located in Brazil, because honestly, and I say that as a Brazilian myself, it does not look like Brazil. Or at least it does not have many of the problems Brazil has. Still, it has some issues, and today we discover the pros, cons, and the cost of living in Florianopolis, and also if this is the life that you ever dreamed. The idea to do this video came after a previous one called Why You Should Never Ever Think About Moving and Retiring in Rio de Janeiro. And Florianopolis is the perfect contrast to Rio. So let's start with the pros of the Magic Island. And the first is, it's safe. Brazil has many problems. The most famous of them is violence. And at this point, the state of Santa Catarina, from which Florianopolis is the capital, is like an oasis. Here is what a fellow Brazilian once said about Florianopolis. Florianopolis, I would say, is a more organized and more secure version of Rio. And I agree with him. While in 2023, Brazil had an homicide rate of 19.2 murders per 100,000 people, Santa Catarina, the state where Florianopolis is the capital, has a rate of 7.9 homicides per 100,000 residents. This is similar to American cities like San Antonio in Texas, and way safer than cities like Philadelphia, Chicago, Pittsburgh, or Washington, D.C. Still, curiously, all these cities in the US, despite being way more dangerous than Florianopolis, are also way more expensive. But more about the cost of living you know in a few minutes, because our next positive point is something nearly nobody talks about. But once arriving in Florianopolis, they get dazzled and surprised. It's the huge offer of different places, environments, and atmospheres to stay. Because this island is not that big, it has 424 square kilometers, it's smaller than Ibiza in the Mediterranean or Oahu in Hawaii, but despite being small, it has an enormous diversity of options to stay. For a more relaxed atmosphere, there are many small villages like Santo Antônio de Lisboa with many seafood restaurants. If you are looking for near deserted beaches, Lagoinha do Leste is just one of many examples, and for those who want infrastructure but still don't want to live in a big city, Canasvieiras is ideal for families and offer a lively yet relaxed beach atmosphere. And if you want to live among young people and enjoy the nightlife, head to Lagoa da Conceição. So whether you want tranquility or excitement, Florianopolis has something for you. And in the unlikely event that you get bored and want to fly somewhere else, well, this is our next positive point, the connectivity. The island is well connected by air. The city itself has the Hercílio Luz International Airport, which offers many national and international destinations, and is just a quick flight from Buenos Aires, in Argentina, for example. Nearby, there are other major airports that expand your travel options. Curitiba's Afonso Pena International Airport is just a few hours away and has flights to Europe. There is also Navegantes Airport, which is about 2 hours away, with multiple inexpensive flights to other parts of Brazil. Other interesting aspect of the city is the considerable expat community with people from countries like the United States, Germany, the United Kingdom, and especially Argentinians. There are many Argentinians there. These expats come from various backgrounds. Many work in tech and digital industries, as the city has a growing tech scene. Others are entrepreneurs, teachers, and retirees looking for a peaceful place to live. Let's talk a bit now about the cost of living, and we'll start with the food. You probably know that fruits and vegetables are inexpensive in Brazil, But what about dining out? In Florianopolis, in one of the best evaluated restaurants in the district of Lagoa da Conceição, you can enjoy a delicious cooked fish with shrimp sauce for 62 reais, and this is a portion for 2 people. 62 reais is only $11.5, so it means less than $6 per person for a plate of fish with shrimp sauce in a proper restaurant. In the US, this does not buy even a Whopper from Burger King. To put into perspective how cheap Florianopolis is, I will give you one comparison. Imagine Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a city that is for sure not among the richest in the US and absolutely not among the best. Still, it's 71% more expensive than the Magic Island. And do you know what is the homicide rate in Philadelphia? 20 murders per 100,000 residents per year. So Philly, it's almost 3 times more violent than Florianopolis. People are paying almost twice to live in a much more dangerous place. But we'll talk more about housing and the cost of living in a few minutes, and I guarantee you'll be awed by what they offer and how cheap it is. Now, not everything is caipirinhas and sunny beaches. There are some negative issues with the Magic Island too, and the first one is probably what every Brazilian will tell you about Florianopolis: the seasonal fluctuations. During the summer months, the population can increase significantly as tourists flock to the island's beautiful beaches and attractions. In peak season, the population can swell from 500,000 to 1.5 million people. So imagine that Florianopolis is actually 2 cities in one in the summer and one in the winter, and the one in summer has up to 3 times more people than the one in winter. This influx of visitors means that the residents often face increased traffic congestion and crowded public spaces. Some prices also increase during summer. Another negative point, and that one a friend of mine witnessed personally, is that during winter the city feels empty, and many restaurants and bars close during the entire low season. The next negative point is the language barrier. If you speak even basic Portuguese or Spanish, you have no problem in Florianopolis. However, if you speak only English, there might be some issues. And that, despite Florianopolis being the city in Brazil with the highest English language proficiency. On a scale from 0 to 1,000, it reached 584 points. That is more than Lithuania or Luxembourg in Europe. The biggest problem is that people in public organs and the state bureaucracy often are exactly those who don't speak English. As a Brazilian myself, I never understood how it's more likely that a street vendor will speak English than a government clerk. The next problem is the transportation. During tourist season, the influx of visitors leads to packed buses and longer wait times. Traffic congestion is another major concern. The island infrastructure struggles to accommodate the high number of vehicles, particularly during rush hours and tourist peaks. Key routes, such as the bridges connecting the island to the mainland, frequently experience traffic jams. According to a local, what should be a 15-minute drive can easily turn into an hour-long ordeal during these times. For those without a car, mobility can be limited. Many parts of the island are not well served by public transport, making it difficult to reach certain areas without a personal vehicle. For example, the northern beaches like Jurerê and Canasvieiras, and more remote spots like Campeche in the south, are challenging to access without a car. The next not good thing of Florianopolis is actually valid for the entire Brazil: the bureaucracy. In the last few years, Brazil made life a bit easier for expat retirees or digital nomads. However, ongoing interactions with public services can be cumbersome. The public healthcare system, the SUS, while universal, often suffers from long wait times and inconsistent quality, prompting most expats to opt for private health insurance, which I recommend. Contracting utilities such as electricity, water, and internet can involve tedious processes and delays, as each service may require separate applications and proof of residence. I think that if you ever live in East Europe, the levels of bureaucracy in Brazil are similar, if not worse. And the last negative thing is also something that affects all Brazil, not only Florianopolis: the taxes. For expats and foreigners living in Brazil, taxes can be quite complex and burdensome. Brazil imposes taxes on worldwide income for its residents, which includes those who stay in the country for more than 183 days in a 12-month period. Income is taxed progressively from 7.5% to 27.5%, and that may increase at any time, with the highest bracket starting at a monthly income of only 4,664 Brazilian reais, which is less than $900. One significant drawback is the lack of double taxation treaties with countries like the US, the UK, and Germany. This means expats might have to pay taxes in both their home country and Brazil. Capital gains taxes in Brazil also affect expats. Gains from sales of assets such as real estate, vehicles, and stocks are taxed, with rates typically around 15%. Furthermore, Brazil requires residents with foreign assets exceeding $100,000 to report these assets annually. So for this reason, I really recommend you hire a local tax planner if you move to Brazil. It can save you a lot of money and headache. Now it's the time for what we waited for the entire episode. You will discover what you can afford in Florianopolis for the price of a one-bedroom apartment in Philadelphia, meaning $1,699 per month. Before we enter into how amazing is the cost of living, I would like to ask a small favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Now time to talk about the best part of this video. The one that you had been expecting. What can you afford in Florianopolis for the same amount as the average price of a one-bedroom apartment in Philadelphia? At the moment I'm making this video, $1,699 is approximately 9,200 Brazilian reais. So that is our maximum budget. For this value in Philadelphia, you rent a one-bedroom apartment with 725 square feet, 67 square meters, without furniture. In Florianopolis, for less, for only 8,385 reais per month, or $1,550, you can rent a penthouse close to the beach with sea view, 250 square meters, meaning almost 4 times bigger than the apartment in Philly, already fully furnished. This penthouse is in a gated community with multiple swimming pools, including an Olympic swimming pool, gym, playground and places for barbecue, and even their own cinema. In the red circle is the residential condominium we are talking about. Pay attention to how close it is to the beach. But even if you just want to spend half of what you would spend in Philly, meaning only $850, still you would find some great places in Florianopolis, like this nice 2-bedroom apartment with swimming pool access not far from the first one we just showed. And it's in a very good location too, very close to the beach. All that for 4,750 reais per month, or less than $900. So now it's time for you to tell me, what would you choose? Unfurnished one-bedroom apartment in dangerous and violent Philadelphia, or a 4 times bigger luxury penthouse in front of a beach in Florianopolis? Tell me in the comment section which one you would choose and why. I'm curious to read your thoughts. Now, if you enjoyed this video about Florianopolis, but is also interested in knowing more about other destinations in South America, check also our list of the 10 cheapest cities to live in Latin America. Some of them have an even lower cost of living, and they are not that bad.